Dr. Homebrew is brought to you by 5 Star Chemicals, providing safety and cleaning supplies for brewing, distilling, and winemaking at 5starchemicals.com.
Doctor, look.
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
Dr. Homebrew time. Time to talk about beer. Time to talk about homebrew.
Time to talk about doctors.
Time to talk about doctors.
Flip on the on-air switch, I think.
The on-air switch, and no one cares.
They care out there.
No one gives a shit.
They don't even know
the Hop Grenade Saloon and Tavern.
Down. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, I don't know why we have the curtain down.
Because you don't like people.
It was like that when I got here. You know what happened
and you
when
smiled and left it that.
You know
way,
what
right?
happened when I fucking got here? This whole fucking office smells like fart. Like Kevin or someone from the Hop Grenade. They use the office, which
just to come in here and fart,
and they fart, and it smells so bad. And when I get here, and it's like it turns my stomach. I'm done.
One more thing.
I hate sharing an office with a studio. I hate a studio with an office. I hate it. It's the worst. Everyone shits everywhere, and it smells like crap, and the bathroom stinks, and it's fucking loud.
It's the ideal judging environment. What are you talking about?
I know, it stinks so bad. And everyone's like, oh, it smells. Yeah, I know. Dude, stop farting, please.
Oh, man. We're starting off good here.
It's fine. It makes for great radio, I'm sure. You know what else makes great radio? This show is brought to you by 5 Star Chemicals. You can go to 5starchemicals.com and learn about all the awesome stuff that you guys can do for cleaning and sanitizing your homebrew equipment. You want to make good beer, it starts with cleaning and sanitization, and the people who know that best are 5 Star Chemicals. 5starchemicals.com.
They know sanitization?
They do.
They do.
That's a word, right? Did I just?
Well, no.
I didn't just make that up.
No, that's a Chris Graham word.
That's probably where I got it from.
Sanitization, yeah.
Is that not a word?
Yeah, I mean,
I really don't think it is, but
it's a great word for people who like 5 syllable, unnecessarily extra added
sanitization. That's 6 syllables.
Oh, that adds an extra.
I don't know. Sure.
You still clap when you want to know how many?
I do. I'm not very smart. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Well, you're smart enough to clap.
I'm smart enough to clap. I know that part.
They're great.
I got to tell you, I feel better now explaining why I was in a bad mood, because it smells like the inside of someone's colon in here, and I don't like it. And it sets me on edge.
It cleared out by the time I got in here, and I got in here late. Like
really?
usual.
I can still smell it.
Maybe it's you.
It might be
you
me.
leaking?
I might be. I've been farting a lot lately.
Dan, it's probably you.
Like a lot. No, like when I first came in, I was like, that's
no,
awful.
You got that, but it's not here now. And it's probably right around you, though.
You were belching a little bit, too.
Someone take a dump under the
they may have,
over
man.
there.
Who knows? Who knows what happens in here when I'm not around? We do have a pretty cool show for you guys today. I know I say that a lot, but I think I mean it today. We have a Vermont-style IPA from some guy called Seth, and he wrote me a while ago, and he was like, look, I know, actually, he wrote into the session, Doc, he had some feedback for us on the session, and then he emailed me about Dr. Homebrew, and he's like, I have a New England IPA or a Vermont IPA. Apparently there's a difference.
Is there?
I don't know.
Why should there be?
So we're going to do that, but he goes, it's not sludgy, but there's a haze to it. I'm like, okay, that's appropriate. That's fine. So send it in, because I've never had one, and we'll see what it is.
You wouldn't have bitched about this one.
No?
No. It's clear enough.
Okay. All right.
I only know, like, West Coast IPAs and stuff, dude.
and things, bro.
Bro, this is a little weird for me.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I've never had one before, and so I guess we'll have one. And then we have a Russian Imperial Stout to drink as well. So very opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, definitely.
And then,
And the funny thing is I love Russian Imperial Stouts.
It's pretty good.
And you know how I feel about IPA.
Yeah, it's good. Well, it's even better because the guy's like, look, so there's a New England and then a Vermont, and the Vermont has diacetyl, and I know how much Doc hates that, and I go, well, then we're doing that one. So I did that one to you on purpose.
Man, thank you.
You're welcome.
For raking me over the coals.
You're welcome. And then we're going to do kind of what we did on the session, and we're going to talk about passing of our co-host, Lee Shepard, who passed away from complications of lung cancer last week or so. But we'll save it for the end of the show, again, just like the session, because it's really tough to talk about that kind of stuff and then pretend like you didn't. So anyways, stay tuned for that. We don't bring you down too much. Okay, let's get our first guy on the phone, and his name is Seth, but I'm trying to sort out where his information is, man.
Got some info?
There it is right there.
Got the info?
Perfect. We're talking about NHC before the show started, and it sounds like there was some, a lot of people learning how to brew, which is good, I guess, and which kind of makes sense because it seems like half of the people, or that's what I keep hearing, about half of the people were brand new to NHC. So it sounds like there's a lot of new homebrewers in the thing.
When the keynote was on, they asked how many people are new or the first time at NHC, which is now HomebrewCon.
Yeah, right.
It's still NHC to me.
Yeah.
God damn. Like half the room or more raised their hand.
Yeah.
Well, this meant I get to meet new people.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I was amazed at how many, and the room was freaking full. It was 2,500 people in that room.
That thing's getting out of control. I mean, they do need to maybe split it into two festivals. You could have like NewbieCon, and then you could have HomebrewCon. No. Nothing against the newbies, man. You get that bug and you run with it, man.
Everyone's new at one point.
Yep.
Okay, I believe we have Seth on the line. Seth, are you here?
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. Just talking about your new. So, what's the difference, dude, between a New England style IPA and a Vermont style IPA? What is going on over there on the East Coast, dude? What are you guys doing?
What's going on in the great state of Vermont?
We're going to rake you over.
I've been trying to think all day what I was going to say to you guys. You look at a heady topper, you look at a sip of sunshine or a double. They're fucking cloudy, dude. And the one I sent there's no wheat in it. That was on purpose, and it was a different yeast that I got from reading a little bit of Michael Tonsmeyer from. He's the guy who wrote the American Sours. I think you had him on the show. I don't know if it was the Sour Show or the Session.
Okay,
but I got it from him. It's the London L3, which. And even Marshall Schott said that he couldn't get that shit to clear. So, and this one that you're drinking's got gelatin in it, and I wouldn't. It cleared some. I just poured the one that I sent you, and I'm looking at it, and it doesn't have the haze like a heady topper does, but
it doesn't.
That's because I didn't put any wheat or oats in it. But I think
does it have the diacetyl like heady topper does?
Well, I don't know. It's I get a little bit of it. I'm not very sensitive to it, but I know Doc is, so I'm going to wait to see what he has to say.
Yeah, I told him our little secret that I picked this one specifically because it has a lot of that. Yeah. So how long have you been homebrewing?
About 2.5 years now.
Dude, that's pretty clear. I mean, that's super clear for homebrew stand. Well, not super clear. It's clear enough for a homebrew.
And clear enough for JP not to hate on it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that would be sort of acceptable. I mean,
right.
I would at least
can read through it.
I would at least like question what is wrong with you, but I wouldn't go, "Oh, this has got to be terrible. Like it's flawed." I wouldn't assume that it was flawed.
I'm sipping a Fieldwork Green Rest, and honestly, it's not that big of a haze difference. You know, it's a different color, but it's not that
right. And I think it's because a lot of them they put wheat in it, and some of them actually say, "Hey, this is a wheat beer." Or it's a wheat IPA, but some of them don't, you know? So.
Yeah, oats is another one for sure.
Too much information.
People are putting flour and pectin, and like seriously, this is what's happening.
Well,
so
flour works the best.
Flour works the best.
A tablespoonful of flour in your kettle, right about 5 minutes before the boil.
Yeah,
you get haze.
Good.
Big tap.
But and that's what I was wondering tonight was why.
Oh, because if you want to have that hazy look, like you got a lot of hops in it, if you're brewing a wit and you want it to be hazy, that's the best way to make it cloudy. It's a wit secret.
Yeah.
And about a tablespoonful of flour, right about the 5 minutes before the end of the boil, and you get major hazy beer, which it should be.
But is there any other reason? Is there any other reason for that?
No, it's all appearance. It's the only thing. It gives a little bit of mouthfeel, and I think it's more in your head because you're looking at it, and you get that. It turns into shock top hazy.
Yeah, it's unfermentable starches going straight into beer there.
Yeah,
so.
and it just stays in there. You can put stuff in there to get the yeast to drop out, but. Because you should anyway, you don't want a yeast bite.
Well, it's true, yeah.
But it just stays in there like a Hoegaarden or one of those.
Yeah.
Right.
You're brewing a wit, you want it to be hazy.
But we're not talking about a wit here. We're talking about an IPA.
Exactly.
So the haze source should be the hops, the dry hops in this case.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be.
Supposed to be.
And if maybe you're not getting that, and you want to make sure that that kind of illusion that you've got a lot of hops in there.
Trickery. Fakery.
And it's all in it's in your head because you're looking at it and you already know what you're going to be tasting before you get it. And if it's cloudy and stuff, you're thinking, ooh, cloudy. And if you're in the beer know, you're going to think, wow, must have a lot of hops in there.
Yeah. So why did you pick these styles, Seth? And I'm not picking on you just because you sent these. I'm curious to see what's going on over there.
To be honest, I actually enjoy a heady topper. But it's got it, and you are right, and Beardy's right in the fact that they have no shelf life.
Yeah.
So you have to get a fresh one.
Yeah.
And if it's not fresh, and I'm talking weeks, if it's not within weeks, and I've had one that's a few weeks old, and you can tell. But when they're fresh, I mean, they're good. That's a good beer. But so that was just kind of me, I'm from Vermont. I grew up here. Why not support? But I'll tell you what, there are other breweries here in the state that are brewing double IPAs that are not hazy, that look similar to mine. I'm not saying mine's great, but that are damn good, that are better than the heady topper, that are better than the Sip of Sunshine that gets all the press, but they don't have that murkiness to them.
See, that's one thing we try to strive to stress rather on all of the shows. I think here is that you don't have to like wait in line for 10 hours and get a lottery ticket and like hunt for these beers and trade for beers to get beers that taste good. For every Pliny the Elder, there's 2 other IPAs, double IPAs that taste just as good, if not better.
Yeah,
you just don't know
about
them.
I'll give a shout out right now. There's a brewery called 14th Star, and they brew a beer called Tribute, which is a double IPA, which I say is the best IPA coming out of Vermont right now. And it's not that muddy, hazy look, and you can get that beer anywhere. You don't have to stand in line for it.
Is it the best IPA, or is it just a tribute to the best IPA that they've forgotten how to brew?
Or is it the best IPA in the room?
Yeah.
Sorry, Tenacious D reference there.
All right, Brian, let's get this this train to Vermont rolling, dude. Why don't you start us off?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Campaign finance reform is yeah. Oh, sorry. Wait. Wrong speech.
Is that your Bernie Clinton voice?
I can't do it. My cousin.
I'm not voting for Bernie.
My cousin does a really good one. Yeah. It's really. I thought the aroma was nice and inviting. It has a pleasant citrus and grapefruit hop note coming up front there. Both kind of a just a bright kind of little citrus zing, and nothing too gnarly or funky or dank. Not it's not West Coast-ish very much, except for a little really grapefruity could be a little bit, but
very Vermonty.
Yeah, very Vermonty. Medium kind of peach apricot esters in there. It's kind of rich on the malt is a little richer than some of these bright white IPAs with just hops and no malt backbone. It's got a little bit of malt, little bready supporting malt in there, and not and a little richer, kind of bread crusty kind of side note to that. So I didn't get any diacetyl myself. I'll talk to Doc about what he gets, but no DMS or anything like that. I did get a little bit of fusely kind of solventy notes in it, and it'd be interesting to talk to you about how the fermentation went and everything. But I didn't get any. With the haze, you want to look for kind of yeasty, sulfury notes in there, like bready, sulfury. I think the breadiness that's there is just from the malt, not from yeast. So, I was trying to think. Wasn't sure if I got a little bit of light paperiness coming in. I don't know if these things don't age well. If it's oxidation that causes that, or I wonder what it is that's making them go downhill fast. And so, I don't know how old. Is this one past that 3-week window where it's starting to slide? No, I don't know if you're drinking one along with us here, but anyway, we'll get to
I am.
Yeah, okay, good.
Well, good for you.
Appearance wise, it was a rich orangey gold color with a moderate hop derived haze and low white head that faded fairly soon after pouring in this glass. So the appearance was pretty good. In the flavor, it got a little more interesting to me, a little odd in some ways. So, and as the CO2 fades, it changes a lot too. And it's already kind of low in carbonation. I don't know if we had a little bottle variation or if you're drinking out of a keg and it was just poured straight out of that. But it seems like it's got a little bit of a wordy kind of presentation to it, a little sweet, kind of bready presentation with it tastes like a little bit like hydrometer sample fresh wort, like a little bit of that pitched into there. That kind of surprised me a little bit. Higher alcohols are coming out a bit more in the flavor than in the aroma, and it just seems like maybe with the wordiness and that maybe the yeast wasn't happy and just didn't completely attenuate. I don't know what it finished at, but we'll get to that too. That's one question I'll have for you. But the balance is still the hop. And it has kind of a pleasant part of it is that it has a medium-low bitterness. It kind of stays out of the way, unlike some of these really aggressive hop monsters that's just all bitterness in your face and big hops in the nose and everything hops. This has a little more nuance to it, so that's kind of nice. Mouthfeel-wise, I had a couple of problems here too. It's just, again, mostly with that the alcohol, the hot alcohol that's hitting me in the back of the throat there. It's kind of keeping it from going down as smooth as I'd like my IPA to drink. It's kind of medium to medium full bodied. It seemed a little fuller bodied than I expected, and had a little bit of a hop astringency in it too.
Is that the Vermont style or the New England? That's the wheat or the oat edition or whatever is to kind of give a sensation of more mouthfeel, right?
It does have a sensation of more fullness. Yeah. So I don't understand the Vermont style. I don't get Heady Tupper. I don't get any of those other beers, and I don't get them fresh if I did. So I'm not experienced in this style. I'll say that up front. I did not go to NHC this year. Yeah, it does have kind of an oily thing, like when you use oats in a beer or a little bit of wheat. Yeah, wheat will do that slick. Sometimes.
Yeah,
a little oiliness to it.
I assume that's on purpose.
Yeah. So if that could be something that is supposed to be that way, and I just don't understand it. So I apologize if that's the case. I need to make a trip to Vermont and try some fresh IPAs there. Will the Brewing Network spring for my trip there?
Yeah, you get $40.
Yeah. So then, just overall, I thought that I really liked the inviting aroma, and that just fell flat in a little bit of other aspects. And the higher alcohols can be taken out by fermenting it cooler and ensuring a vigorous, healthy, large yeast pitch. Use the Mr. Malty yeast calculator or some other ones out there, and just do a good solid starter. Get your yeast ripping and pop it in there and make sure it takes off like a rocket. And then keep the temperature steady. Don't pitch it at too high of a temperature and then bring it down to your fermentation temperature. Just pitch it right where you're at or a little lower than it's going to be. And that should also help with the attenuation. And also just bumping up the CO2 will help too. You can possibly reduce that kind of worty impression I'm getting. And as the sample sits, I'm going back and smelling and tasting the first sample I tasted earlier when we first judged it. And then the fresher one, it does taste better. It doesn't have that as much, but it seems like the CO2 was a little low in this bottle, and it could just be a bottle issue. So it does get more sweet and wordy as you drink it. I enjoyed the beer. I thought it was a good beer, and I gave it a 26. So there's a few things that could make it a little better, or I don't understand the style as well as I should, and I need an education.
Yeah, I think that's the
come over here.
Yeah, I think we should definitely clarify. Like we judge it, or they judge it as American IPA.
Yeah, we judge it as a 21A, which it was marked as on the bottle, and it just as an American IPA.
But it clearly is. I mean, it's not designed to be a 21 IPA.
As a judge,
IPA.
Yeah, you should allow for range, and you should educate yourself in the ways of other IPAs in there. I know, all of the West Coast different varieties that people can make, but when I get an East Coast IPA, and I've had a few of them, they're always just so damaged by the time we get here, and I haven't really spent a lot of time on the East Coast drinking it. So yeah.
So all we can do here is just judge it to the guidelines. Yeah. Not saying that he brewed an incorrect beer or anything like that. So I just wanted to be clear because it's not often that we get something like this. I mean, I think this to me is an emerging style. And I don't as like a black IPA was. I don't like black IPAs. I don't really like the idea of the style either. But a lot of people do, and that's totally fine.
Yeah. But I'm not trying to bring personal preference into this at all. I don't have an opinion one way or another.
Right. I'm only remarking just to clarify.
Sure. Yeah.
Clarify.
Just to clarify, that this is kind of a unique beer for us, where it's supposed to fit in the category, but it doesn't really fit in the category. Yeah. And it's kind of this weird. There's not even a catch-all category for it.
Well, I would still call it good because it to me it just missed the mark just a little bit due to some kind of light balance issues and that undercarbonation especially, and then the minor flaw being mostly the light solventy thing that I was getting. And it's not bad, it's not harsh, it's just detracting from me enough that it brings it to that point. So anyway, I hope that helps. But I'll see what Doc says too.
Ooh.
All right, Doc.
There's your cue.
You're up, buddy.
Everything he said, and then here's my number.
Okay. That would be fine.
So, as we all know, I don't like IPAs much, but they're changing now, and they're actually. I'm liking a lot of them now.
Are they changing, or are you changing?
No, not me.
No,
it's not. I'm too old.
Are you
for
sure?
That. Oh yeah.
Right.
No, they're kind of emerging. Kind of a less bitter style, which it's light, dry, a lot of hops, but it's not bitter as fuck. Which is that's my whole problem has always been it's just bitter as fuck.
Right. Okay.
It kills my tongue, kills my palate. I'm done.
Yeah.
And to me, it's very satiating. I have one, and I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't even want another beer. And
now there's a lot of session IPAs too, where it's like the strength of a regular pale ale. It has just enough bitterness to balance it, and not overpowering too. Like there's a lot of them on the West Coast, and that's kind of what I think of too. With like the hops are all there, but the bitterness isn't in your face. I
love hop aroma. I love hop flavor. Yeah. I'm giving more, but when you bitter the fuck out of it, that's when I got to draw the line. Kind of why I've always hated, because they went for a long time more bitter, and they just kept going. Oh, that's not what we're trying to do. And now I'm starting to see more and more of them coming out, more floral, more citrusy, a lot more body in the middle of it, but in a dry finish. and it doesn't stick on my tongue. It's not like I got a hot chili on my tongue.
Right.
And it just...
Okay, well, what do you think about this beer?
Yeah, we're going to kind of the same thing. I got a lot of hop, fruity aroma with this thing. A lot of grapefruit. Not a lot. It was just really strong grapefruit. Grapefruit's kind of tart. And where you've got other citrus fruits that aren't, you got some sweetness. And this was just really a lot of grapefruit.
Yeah.
Which was added to the kind of whole tart smell to it. I got a lot of malty sweetness to it.
Okay.
A lot of that. I got alcohol sweetness, which is different. Mm-hmm. And it was a little fusily. So there's two kinds of sweetness in the aroma that I'm definitely getting. I got no grassiness, so you can get that with a lot of hops thrown in there.
Mm-hmm. That's positive
because of all that plant matter.
Yeah,
you get this grassiness, and I didn't get any of that. And I got no diacetyl in there in the aroma. It was a little papery, possibly because we got a little late. But not to the point where it was distracting.
Okay.
I mean, I'm really trying to pull things out of it, and we probably didn't get the freshest sample because that's that 3-week freshness thing.
Yeah.
Bottling technique can come down too.
A little bit of oxidation in the bottling technique, that kind of. I got a little of that. Probably, if we would have got bottles that were 3 weeks later, it would have been a whole different story. Definitely a whole different story. So, I just starting to get that first hint of paperiness. So let's go to the appearance. There was no head retention in this. It just went flat.
I noticed that. Yeah,
it just went flat. The color I thought was a little, on the light side. It should be, more goldeny, but it's still kind of within that kind of realm. So let's go into the flavor. It was dry for me, but real sweet, kind of at the end, and that's usually indicative of a lot of alcohol.
Okay,
alcohol has a sweetness to it.
Yeah,
and so there's no malty sweetness that is very dry in the finish, but you get this residual sweetness that comes across, and that's usually alcohol. The malt flavor was nil.
Yeah,
pretty much, which is okay. In the middle, there's just not enough hop flavor in the middle. It's like the black void,
mm-hmm.
like dark matter. I got nothing in the middle for hop flavor. It smelled good, didn't taste like anything in the middle. It wasn't particularly bitter either, which I kind of liked. That would have detracted from it. It would have been a bitter bomb because there's no hop floralness or nothing to balance that. Mm-hmm. So if it would have been a bitter bomb, I would have got a 10. But after it warmed up slightly, or a lot, because it's been sitting in my glass and it's kind of warmed up, I got a little diacetyl. But before that, when it was cold and stuff, I didn't get any.
Yeah.
And I would have detected it. But I got it just as it was like the last dregs in my glass, and it was, warmish.
Yeah.
Then I got a little in there. But nobody else put a taste. Mouthfeel was good, but I thought it was maybe a little too heavy.
Yeah.
It was medium high in the mouthfeel.
Yeah, I agree.
And as you pointed out, that we've got a little under carbonation. That's what you're gonna. It's gonna like.
Yeah, the impression of fullness is a little increased when you dropped out.
Yeah, so the CO2 dropping out kind of adds like to that thick slickness of the body on that one.
Well, we're talking about a little oiliness too, like a oaty kind of impression.
Yeah, and exactly what.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you.
Maybe from the wheat or from something.
He said there's no wheat in it, though.
Oh, there's no wheat. Okay.
But there was definitely something that you and I were talking about that maybe is under attenuated. It's that warty kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of sweet slickness. Too many maltoses in there, maybe. But yeah, I definitely got this kind of slick mouthfeel. It could have been from the hop oils, if you get a lot of hop oils in there, but it definitely was, in that mid range, a little slickery. So overall, I thought it could have used more mid hops. Okay, a lot more mid hops because I got nothing in the middle. It was like just the void.
Yeah. It's slick. It's all slickness.
Yeah, it's like the Badlands. So, in the middle of there. Just not much there in the flavor in the middle. I want more. It needs more hop flavor, period.
Yeah.
But what I really liked about it, it's more like the New Age IPA. It's it's not bitter. It's got a lot of smell to it. If you bump up those mid-range flavors, kind of mid-late hop additions, maybe a big shit ton of mid-late hop additions, you're going to get a lot more of the hop oils in there. I'm not talking about the bittering ones. I'm talking about the myrcenes and the other ones.
Yeah.
So
it could also be like a little backswing too. The hops have just crept up and up and up in IPAs where they're almost double IPAs now in the regular singles, and there could be a little backlash against that, and people are just pulling back to the more classic.
Yeah, overall, I didn't find a lot of faults to it. It's more of a recipe issue, I think, about where the flavors come in through this.
Okay.
But
also a little bit the process and possibly the bottling. Sorry. Yeah.
Because we're getting it. The bottling thing, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we get papery, it's because of oxidation. It's going to get, and that's usually in the bottling, especially when you got a lot of hops. It's just going to come through.
And especially if you have to ship it across the country. It's a bummer for that.
And there's that, too, because Vermont's kind of far away.
Yeah. Well, let's finish up, and then we'll get to what his recipe and all that kind of stuff.
Okay,
we'll answer all these questions.
So, give it I gave it a 31. I thought it was just because of not a lot of faults.
Yeah.
Anyway through. It's more, yes, you could fix it here, fix it there kind of thing.
Just a couple little onesie-twosie stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
As it is, with a couple little tweaks, you could easily make it into a 40 beer.
Yeah.
Easy. I didn't get a lot of badness on there. The big things were just missing parts. It's kind of like, oops, missing parts. And we probably got just not the freshest example that we could have.
Okay. Fair enough.
And that's not your fault.
Nope, that's not my fault.
Nope.
We can't blame GP this time. The faults aren't really.
Actually,
all right, Seth.
We can.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, do you have any questions for the guys first of all, and then we can jump into kind of some process stuff.
No, I don't disagree with anything that anybody said, actually. But I don't know, where you want to go first?
Well, why don't you give us the recipe? I think we should start there.
All right. Recipe, it was a 5-gallon batch. I'm looking at it was, and I, with my system, the poundage might be a little bit off for my system, but coming out on a 5-gallon batch, it was about 11 pounds of two-row, which is about 80%, 4 pounds of Vienna, and then half a pound of caramel 40 and a quarter pound of caramel crystal 80. That's all that was in there for the malt bill. And then hops were Centennial, 3/4 of an ounce at 60. I put an ounce of Cascade in at 30, a 1/4 ounce of Centennial at 15, and then Whirlpool was an ounce of Amarillo, ounce of Citra, and then this is my question, an ounce of the HBC 438. I think it was released last year at NHC. Anyways, and then I dry hopped again with the same thing, Amarillo, Citra, HBC 438, and then again I threw an ounce of the HBC 438 in the keg. And I think it's that HBC 438 that I'm not crazy about, because I made a different IPA that I actually sent in to you guys as well that I fermented with just Cal Ale 001, and that went all the way down to, I think, 1007. so it got real dry, but it had that same kind of cloying, and I think that's what you guys are saying, kind of cloying sweetness kind of thing to it, which when I thought for this one, I thought it might have been the yeast that I used, which was the London L3, and this one finished at 10-12.
Okay.
And I get kind of like a cloying sweetness out of it, and you guys are saying the same thing, like a wordy kind of sweetness. I think we're talking about the same thing.
Well, and I mean,
I don't know.
A lot of those crystal malts can give the impression of some of that too, right?
Yeah. But
it's less than 5% of crystal though. So
but with no background, I don't know.
I'm on the fence with this one. I'm not sure where to go with it.
I wonder if it's the hop selection with the under attenuation and the crystal malt. Because you're saying Seth, that you don't really dig on those HB seed 1, 2, 3, 4s or whatever they are. So maybe that's the flavoring. In combination with those higher crystal malts, just doesn't do it.
Yeah, I think our two...
And the higher attenuation, or the lower attenuation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I think our two main issues here is, what Brian was saying was, it's this warty flavor to it, which you're going to get that with crystal malt, you're going to get that with under attenuation. If you got down to a 1007, you shouldn't even have that.
Do they tend to use sugars in the Vermont IPAs, by the way?
Like throw some maple syrup in there?
10-12.
Yeah.
At 10-12, it should have been a lot drier than that. And maybe that's what we're getting. And the other thing is all the middle hops not there. So
how
old is this, Seth? I'm sorry.
Yeah, see, that's the other. You said papery. This one was in a rush. I sent you that email on a whim. Hey, I'll send you this beer in, and I was like, oh shit. He said yes. This was the end of the keg, and I was kegging it, and I was like, oh shit, I hope I got enough in here. So I keg it, and actually it's not that old, but it is, kind of. It was. I kegged it on the 24th of April, and I bottled it. The bottles that you have and the bottle I'm drinking right now, I think I bottled on, the first. I think I bottled it on the 28th of May. So
I mean, it's at least a 2-month-old beer.
Yeah. Tasty's rolling over his grave right now.
Yeah, and I bottle them with a, I use a Blickman beer gun, and I don't know where my carbonation was at. I was out of town for a week, and I came back, and I bottled them and kind of took a sample at the same time and went, okay, maybe. And then I was out of town. I was out of the country for another 2 weeks after that. So it was a little bit in a rush. So
when it was fresher, did it have that wordiness to it? Did it have that sweetness, or did it just taste a little fresher and the sweetness didn't bother you as much?
No, it still did.
Yeah, okay.
It still had that wordiness and that sweetness to it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, we've all gone away for a week or two, and you come back, and that keg's just not the same CO2 level wise. And then, I got to bottle it. So.
I don't know, that the experimental hop I'm looking at should be kind of tropical and stone fruits. We're getting a lot of tropical and like some darker fruit stuff too, a little herbal and spicy. Yeah. I don't know much about that hop. I guess it's a bastard. It has unknown.
It's a snow.
A paternal lineage. So his mother is the Neo Mexicanas, but Anyway,
right.
Interesting. They just released it to homebrewers before they may make it commercially or not, but that's interesting.
Do we have anything else for Seth, or could we cut him loose?
Yeah, I would put a little sugar in this beer. Dry out the finish, and just keep the fermentation level down in the mid 60s, and that will help. If you have the sugar and that, it'll help keep the higher alcohols out, and it'll ferment down a little lower, and then just push up the carbonation a little bit. That's going to fix a lot of these things we're picking up today. And just, again, just could be a bottle thing. But, thanks for sharing. It was an interesting beer. Definitely
totally
different modern take on IPAs, and I'm learning.
Yeah. I'd like to just see some lot more mid-range hops. So,
and I'm sorry, Doc. What you say?
Your 30 to 20 minute edition, in the boil, and just I would start with just doubling what you put in there.
I mean, you can even use all middle hops for your bittering and everything. Just
Right,
put it all
yeah.
in at 30.
Right, all in at 30, all in at 20. You'll get enough. You'll get the same amount of bitterness if you do that, and you'll get a lot more. I would just do that. The next thing I do is take all your early addition hops, move them up to 30 minutes, and then, but I would pretty much double what you are putting in there.
Yeah, just keep the bitterness level the same. Just calculate what you need to get there,
right.
and then
It'll keep.
you're going to be using more plant matter. If you could increase the bitterness too, it's going to get 2, and that'll just change everything.
Yeah,
too bitter.
Quite a bit. So, and I would cut back on any crystal malt you have in there, maybe by half.
Okay.
You might just pull out that 80 and
I wouldn't put 80 in it at all, but maybe half as much 40.
That was because all I had.
The 80 is going to give you a little, almost kind of a raisiny, light raisiny, but not intense. But like, whereas the lighter ones give you a little honey-like, a little bread crust, and that's fine. But yeah, you get a little too deep, and it's going to
a little lower crystal lovable.
Yeah.
All right, we got to wrap it up with Seth, unfortunately, because we got Phillip waiting in the wings here.
Oh,
so
Philip's waiting?
We're pushing him out a little bit.
Phil.
Bye, Seth.
Yeah.
Bye, Seth.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, man. I hate doing that, but he was on for 40 minutes, so got to split. All right, we got to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to be on with Phillip and talking about Russian Imperial Stout. It's Dr. Homebrew, folks. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Yay.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Kings.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states, plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small, single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy f***ing shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business. Now, back to the examination.
All right, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Before we jump to Phillip here, I do want to tell you guys about a cool brewing thing that we've been talking about for a little bit here. Brian has used. Actually, did I give that back to you, Brian? The iDip?
You did, yeah.
I did. Okay,
I got it again. Thank you.
All right, great. I wasn't entirely sure, and I'm like, that's gonna be awful. The iDip, folks, the Smart Brew water testing kit incorporates a revolutionary photometer system, which is the first and only one on the market with its own app. The multilingual app is the brain, essentially, of the unit. The Smart Brew allows you to focus on the taste of your beer, which essentially is the taste of your water. You can use it for your home, or if you have a brewery, if you happen to be a brewer, you can. It's totally usable for the large system there too. It doesn't really matter. You're still taking the water and testing your levels of all that kind of stuff, right, Brian? It's
where your water is at the moment you're brewing, and then you can test it at different times throughout the year.
Yeah.
I mean, summer water is different from what you get in the winter. Out here, especially, I mean, it's just
so it doesn't matter. It's not like you need one for the home, and then when you go pro, like a lot of you are thinking, you have to buy a whole new one. This works for sure. It's the only one on the market that runs water tests with no math needed on your part, no titration, no addition, no nothing. You don't have to do anything. The iDip pairs via Bluetooth and updates your water results instantly to your own personal water profile. You can email the results of the test to your other brewers on shift, or you can post your Facebook page and let your homebrew club get the lowdown on your base water profile. It has the ability to test over 40 different water quality tests. 4 come preloaded and more are available. You can test for things like total alkalinity, chloride level, calcium, hardness, pH, sulfate, and more. Only 4 milliliters of water are needed for each test. It's a patented, safe, and simple reagent testing method that anyone can use. It's so simple that I can do it. It's as simple as me. And, of course, did we mention there's no math needed, which is awesome.
You just dip a little strip in there, and it counts down the time for that you're supposed to move, kind of wiggle it in the little 4 milliliter pocket.
Deal. Yeah,
and it just does everything for you after that.
And check this out. There's a Brewing Network special, folks. Of course there is. Podcast listeners, enter code TBN10. That's TBN10 at checkout and save $10 on either the standard or advanced Smart Brew testing kit. Order now and make this futuristic technology part of your brewing process. Visit smartbrewkit.com. That's the Smart Brew Kit iDip, smartbrewkit.com.
You lost me after you said unit.
And then you just went down the spiral. Yeah. Phillip, are you here, buddy?
Yo, what's going on?
Not much, man. Just chilling. You know what I'm trying to say?
Chillaxing.
Word
up.
Mother, perhaps?
Word up. I mean, let's just go one up. Why stop at word when you can go word up?
Indeed.
Thank you very much. All right, Phillip, so you sent us a Russian Imperial Stout.
True story, yeah.
I hope so. I hope it's not supposed to be a pale ale, because then I got the wrong beer.
Yeah, well, hopefully it works out then.
Your score just went down.
Right. So how long have you been homebrewing, man?
I guess like a year and a half now, something like that.
You don't sound very excited about that fact.
It's a little late out in Jersey right now, so I'm a little bit tired. But
what exit?
Doc asked you what exit you're off of.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm from Tom's River, so that would be 82.
Okay. Cool. Is that a Jersey joke?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right.
Yes, joke.
So have you ever done a Russian Imperial Stout before, man, or is this your first shot?
This was the second of 3 test batches that we did.
Oh, really?
Hey, which one did you send us? The good, the bad, or the ugly?
You got the good one.
Okay, cool. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Good one minus the aesthetics on the bottles.
I noticed the peeled back label.
Yeah. Like I was saying to JP before, it was kind of a last-minute thing that I had going on, so... I'm also lacking, and this was actually the first beer that I ever kegged, and so I'm lacking any sort of fancy pants bottling equipment with that.
You did the tube thing, didn't you?
Tube thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Doc, why don't you start us off, man?
Okay, cool. So, talking about the tube thing, the aroma, first off, I got kind of musty and slight oxidation.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hard to do with a beer with that many melanoidins in it. So watch your bottling shit. Get a beer gun.
Yeah, no, I got one now.
Because definitely, I got that out of the thing. You shouldn't get this in this kind of beer. Like, this beer should last a long time without getting that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Unless you throw a lot of oxidation into it. The other aroma thing is I didn't get almost any malt character out of it.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, there's... Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I just didn't get any malt character in the aroma at all.
So yeah, I kind of went heavy on all the specialty grains on this one.
Yeah, you can definitely taste it. A lot of roast in there.
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
Okay. Right.
I'm not going to be nice either.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Just try to be nice.
I'll do my best.
All right.
Appearance was dark brown, black, opaque. It actually looked just like it should. It had a long. The one thing I really noticed, it had a long-lasting brown head. It foamed up really nice, and it stayed, which was pretty cool. Because so many times when you get the big Imperial Stout, you just don't get with all the alcohol. The head doesn't stand. It just goes just away. And it does have alcohol legs, which is kind of cool.
Cool.
So it's definitely got some stiffness to it. So then flavor, I thought it was pretty good bitterness wise. This one was it had a good balance with the bitters and the malt in there. I got a lot of astringency, probably from the roasted grains.
Yeah,
and that kind of thing. I got slightly fruity esters coming through with raisins. Got a lot of that. I got a lot of tannic to it for some reason. It's just
interesting.
A lot of astringent and kind of Venus and port-like quality to it also. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's bad. I wouldn't even say it was bad in this one. I just noticed it. Mouthfeel was had good body, not too thin, kind of just chewy enough that it made for a good stout. I would say slightly syrupy, though. It just hung on my tongue too long. Imperial Stout is probably my favorite style, in my top 3 styles. Okay. Period.
IPA and double IPA being the first 2.
those are right up there.
Okay, all right. Just checking. I need to know.
But it had really good and proper CO2 levels. I really like that because this should be more spritzy, and not
more spritzy than it is, or it's a good level
for
in general.
Stout, on the high end for the stouts.
Okay,
you kind of need that.
Yeah,
because it's going to be a big beer. You really don't want it like just cloyingly and laying on your tongue. Kind of thing. I'd say if you're looking at more of the American side of Imperial Stouts. I got a lot more roasty malts and a lot more bitterness in it. But my big detractor was that it was kind of syrupy, and I thought it was maybe too bitter for this style. I like it to be more rounded. I'd like to have that malty sweetness in the background of it all. But this was just a little too dry and just didn't have enough malty backbone-ish.
Balance.
Didn't have enough balance. I want to balance more towards the malty side on this kind of thing. And it was more, it definitely, you can tell it was pushing the American style, which was much more bitter for it. But overall, I didn't see a lot of other faults. It's just more of this whole thing was just a balance issue between the too roasty, too astringent, and then not enough on the malty side. But the thing is, there's a problem here is because it's syrupy. Syrupy isn't malty. And
no, there's a difference.
Yeah, there really is a difference.
Yeah.
But I didn't find any other faults with it. I didn't find any diacetyl. I didn't find any DMS in it. I found some oxidation.
Right.
Definitely, and that's because of your tube method.
But
But
no diacetyl or anything like that.
no, I really didn't. I really didn't get any. But sometimes I don't get it till warms up a little bit.
Yeah, tell me if you get any. I don't know. There's a lot else there too, but yeah.
There it is. Yeah. right at the end, but it's very. But there's it just dries out way too much at the end.
Yeah.
It's almost like the water's too chalky. Like you put too much, or it was too carbonic for the. It's a good idea to do that with all the roasty malts, but
put some chalk in there and
there's too much chalk.
Okay.
I just get this gypsy, not gypsy, but carbonic, the chalky kind of at the end,
like dusty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So with all that, I'm going to give it a 31.
Right on.
Right. So it's mostly what my biggest push here is.
I think Philip's loading up a shotgun right now.
Balance it a little bit better. It's a good, clean brew. I would have put it in the 20s if I would have had other faults with it. When I start,
which is that's what happens.
When I start getting when I start getting faults in it, not just your recipe issues or stuff like that. It's
like fermentation, like contamination, or something
fermentation,
like that.
Diacetyl, phenolics that shouldn't be there.
Yeah,
you're in the 20s, buddy.
Okay.
So
pal, hey you.
So you're I could even go up a couple of points, even. It's a good strong 30 beers. In the 30s.
Yeah.
You're a good B student. Or C student.
Right. All right.
But,
well, there you go.
Yeah, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So I think your brewing techniques are pretty good. I think you need to just dial in the balance and the recipe a little bit better.
So you would just dial back all the specialty malts, though?
Yeah, especially the ones that are causing all the astringency and that harsh bitterness. And yeah, that's basically
Did I send you guys a grain bill? I don't think I did.
No. Well, we'll talk about this at the end after we're done beating you up.
All right, Brian, go for it, buddy.
Yeah. So the aroma is has a little plummy kind of fruitiness to it there, which I liked. Very rich chocolate and roast. It has a strong roastiness to element. A lot of a little coffee, not just a little. I thought I got a kind of a low buttery diacetyl in there. What I was getting was kind of like an impression of some kind of a weird dark like baked good, like a chocolatey baked good, or like a coffee candy, or some kind of bitter chocolate with a light butterscotchy edge to it. It's not like real intense, but it seems like there might have been a little bit in there, but it wasn't too distracting. No hops. It shouldn't have a lot of that anyway. Pretty moderate, evident alcohol there. I'm sure it's beefy enough, and their legs are there too, and getting the appearance. No DMS or acetaldehyde or anything bad. Seems very cleanly fermented. And appearance-wise, wow. My friend Jeff, who helped us out with a show recently, he said it absorbs light. I call it it's like the black hole of beers. It just nothing gets out,
Yeah.
So
it's dark matter.
It's dark matter, jet black. There's a massive brown head that just persists like all day. It's frothy consistency. I could not determine the clarity. It's just completely opaque. Flavor wise, it's just up front. I got a mouth numbingly intense coffee, a lot of dark chocolate, supported by the roast, and the roast is coming across as bitter, kind of lightly burnt. It's a little ashy, and mind you, it's not unpleasant. I really kind of enjoy it for what it is. It's like, it's not like licking an ashtray. It's just like rich. Like you got the grains out of the grain bin at the homebrew shop, and you just started chewing on them. You got the ash and the husk and the intensity all right in your mouth. Hops are low and out of the way. Fine, moderate alcohol. It's smooth, whatever is there. It seems like a big brew, but yeah, clean ale ferment, definitely balanced the malt and the roast. It's just a bit. When you use that much roast, it can get a bit acidic, and it starts to have a little tinginess to it.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
So that's from all the dark malts you're putting there. If you measure the pH of this thing, it's probably one of the lowest pH beers we've ever had on the show.
Yeah.
Mouthfeel wise, medium full body. It's pretty full, but not like over the top. It has a biting kind of quality to it. It's not hot. It's just acidic, and it's intense. It really attacks your senses, even the feel. Carbonation seemed medium high. It should, technically the carbonation on the bigger beers should be a little bit lower. Like if you had a barley wine that was as carbonated as a freaking light lager, it would be just attacking your senses like insane. And that's part of the attack in this beer too, is the carbonation, I think. That makes it not be as creamy as it could be, but it's also an overabundance of all the malts and the dark bitter stuff. But yeah, it's kind of an attack to senses. I really liked the flavor a lot, and it was, even despite the kind of ashiness and stuff, some of the stuff I'm saying, it's really cool flavor, and the aroma was like, wow, this is like rich. And I thought I was getting, the first time I tasted this, I thought I got more butteriness than I'm getting now. It's just like kind of an underlying element now. I don't know, maybe I had too much butter that day, but yeah, it's I just eat sticks of it for fun.
Well, you're from the Midwest, originally, aren't you?
That's right. Minnesota, born and bred. So it's a roasty coffee like bomb, and just a lot of rich flavors and aromas. The color is something to behold, and overall it's quite a bludgeoning to the senses. Just everything about this beer, it screams intense. I would back off almost everything. The flavors that are there are really nice. It just takes on too much of a rich, acrid intensity. It's biting. And you could age some of that out, but I think that's going to stay. You can't just get rid of it. It's going to stay. And some of it might slide downhill in different ways, but as it ages. But it could age really nicely, too. But so it's mostly just a balance thing for me, and I really like the beer, but I gave it a 34. I thought it was pleasant drinking, and I could drink a lot of this just because it's a real taste experience, and it's fun to drink. But I couldn't drink a lot of it in a short period of time. I could sip a little snifter like this, every night for a month, and be fine with that. But yeah, totally. Thanks for sharing it. It's really interesting, but you need to get that balance just a little bit better. Thanks for sharing, Phillip.
Cool.
Do you have any questions for the guys, Phillip?
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll talk about it a little bit, I guess.
Yeah. What'd you do?
So, like, my whole thing was I wanted this to be a big Gigunda beer, mostly because
mission accomplished.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Mostly because it's going to be like one of the favors at my wedding, and the idea was for me to keep like 3 cases or so set aside and open one every year on our anniversary. So I wanted to have all these overpowering kind of things going on in order for it to age well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it will age well. I think it will. If it is in a keg. You're just going to keep the keg around, or you got some bottles saved?
No, well, I haven't actually bottled anything yet. This one yet.
Yeah, don't bottle it with the tube.
No, I actually got one of those the last straw beer guns. So
okay, good.
Yeah,
awesome.
Set there.
The only thing, if you're going to age it for a long time, and have it for a long time, you almost got to really overdo the hops.
Right.
Because those are going to be fading as the malt comes up, in year 5, 6, 7 kind of thing.
I mean, it isn't like, some American Imperial Stouts can have a little more hop than, but some of the European ones it's kind of a background thing anyway, and the bitterness comes from the roast and all that.
And so. I think, and like I said, this is more to the American side, which, America, it's got a lot more hops to it, and you did good on that. So I think it'll age pretty well as long as you bottle it well.
Yeah. More about the recipe, please. What did it start at, finish at, all the specs?
Yeah, definitely.
Let me just grab my notes here.
Yeah.
So the original gravity was 1098, and finished out at 1022.
Nice, keeping it just under 1,100. You know, you go too much over that, you're gonna start getting some hot alcohols and gnarliness.
And I guess, you know, as far as the grain bill goes, they did let's see, it looks like 64.7% base malt. We just did Pilsner. Then we did 11.8% roasted barley, and then it was 5.9 on all these. So it was flaked oats, chocolate, Crystal 120, and black patent.
Yeah, I would cut back on the roasted barley and the black patent.
Yeah.
How many pounds of black patent did it work out in a 5-gallon, or was it?
This was an 8.5 gallon batch.
8.5. Okay. How many pounds?
So it was 2 pounds of all the specialty except for the roasted barley, in which that was 4 pounds.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's a shit ton of black.
That's why we're getting like
Yeah, for sure. But it came out. I think it came out really good considering that.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah. I would never think to use that much.
You almost got a 20, buddy.
The roasted barley, and with 2 pounds of black.
I think the cacophony of everything came out really interesting.
It is interesting.
It is very interesting. There's a lot of different layers, but the layers towards the end are very much obscured by the patent.
So when is or was the big day? And
you still getting married?
Yeah.
After tasting this beer, she left me.
Yeah, right. No, she's done.
She's done.
17.
Sorry, what was that?
March 5th, next March.
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
So you have some time to age even before you have the party there.
You got a lot of time to back out.
Nice.
Yeah, totally.
All right, man. I appreciate it. If that's it, we'll let you go.
Thanks for sending it in.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Maybe I'll send you the final version of this, and we can talk about that one.
That'd be great.
Okay, so this is the
you can
test
send us one on your anniversary every year, too.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Please do.
We're good.
Yeah, whatever you did with the yeast was good. You kept it happy. It seems like fermentation was clean, so you know what you're doing. Go forth and brew the beer.
Yeah.
All right, Phillip.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you.
All right. Cool. Interesting beer. That's for sure, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we have something to give away. We have a $40 gift certificate to grogtag.com. The Grog Tag, at least your beer will look good.
What do they do there?
Gift certificate. Well, funny you ask, Doc. They make customized, reusable beer labels. They also make customized bottle caps and metal signs and coasters and tap handles and... Well, they do wine labels. It's not just beer labels.
You could tag out the man cave, right?
You can tag out the man cave, dude, for sure. Make all your signs come true. It would be great. So, Brian, who wins the $40 gift certificate to grogtag.com?
That would be Seth.
Seth, all right, dude. Yeah. Nice work. I mean, that means you scored the lowest, but it doesn't matter because you got something.
It doesn't matter what you scored. Brian says. It is.
Brian says it is, and thus it shall be thusly.
Yes.
Seth, I appreciate it, man, and
Thank you.
And thanks to Phillip as well.
Yeah, my buddy Jeff, who was on our show too the last time, he helped judge that one in my kitchen, and he gave Phillip's beer a 38. He liked it even a little better than I did. So
that's cool.
And a lot more than I did.
We both enjoyed it and sat there and sipped some together, and had a fun night there. So yeah. Thanks to both of the entrants for sharing their beer. It's a lot of fun to taste all these different things.
Oh, definitely.
That's your
and I
brew
totally
pad.
didn't hate any of these beers.
No, I think they were good.
I really did.
No. How's the beer bug coming? Brian, last time we talked, you had it in some sugar water. Did you ever drink that sugar water, by the way?
It's sitting
so you're
going to
drink it.
I moved it to my garage and turned off the beer bug. So, but it's cleared up nicely. I think it's getting ready to drink. I just am not ready there yet.
What are you going to do with it?
What is it?
What am I going to do with my sugar water?
Yeah,
that's like 1% alcohol.
So he's starting to use the beer bug.
Yeah,
you know the beer bug. It's like basically a Wi-Fi tracker, and there's a weight that hangs in your beer, and you can. Yeah, but I'm explaining it also, and it keeps track of your starting gravity. Yeah, and it keeps track of your starting gravity.
Yeah,
so you can log on to the app or get on the website, and you can see exactly where your beer is. Anyway, so Brian's using that.
And
so for the last recording date, he just decided to throw some sugar water in it.
So that's all I had time to do.
That's all he had time to do.
I fully intended to brew, but yeah. No.
So I was thinking if you got enough sugar in there, enough we could just theoretically distill it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
paper only.
I started at like 10:08. It wasn't that strong, so 10:10 maybe.
Not bothering with it.
Not bothering with it, no.
You can distill it, but it'll get to like beer strength. That'd be weird.
Yeah, we're after beer strength now.
All right, last but not least, I do have another thing to go through for you people who are listening who are not yet members of the AHA. Our friends at the American Homebrewers Association have a special offer for the BN Army. Join or renew your AHA membership in June and receive 6 ounces of Mosaic hops from BSG free with your membership. Just visit homebrewersassociation.org and use code BNAHA. That's Banaha. When you join or renew, offer ends June 30th while supplies last. Visit homebrewersassociation.org. That's what I get for trying to talk fast and be clever. And use code BNAHA.
If you renew with like a lifetime membership, can you get like 12 pounds hops?
I don't know. Warren was like, if I just keep renewing, do I keep getting 6 ounces every time? Like, if I renew for 50 years, I'm like, try it.
Because he wanted to do a commercial brew.
Yeah, why not?
Try it, Warren.
All right, I know we're running a little bit late, and my apologies to everybody who's waiting in the wings, but we do need to just talk about Lee for a second. Because our permanent co-host has left us.
It's been like the elephant in the room, like all the show. But it's like, man, and like the absence over the last many months has been weird, and we're struggling to find our footing again, and then it. Yeah, I don't want to beat a dead horse, and that's probably a poorly timed joke. But, I kind of covered it on the session, but of course this was Lee's show, so I have to cover it here too. When Lee left the show in, I think, about December or so, he was leaving for a persistent cough, man. And, he asked us not to say anything. He left and then he got tested and they found the cancer, and then he asked us not to say anything.
Yeah.
So we didn't say anything. I left it to him. It's his thing. It's not, it wasn't like with my shit where, and this is for the show. Like, my life is the show life. Like, Lee was not that way.
Yeah. I didn't even know the full extent of it, honestly, until later.
You brought me in, and it's like, well, at that point, we were thinking he's coming back at any minute.
Any second. And every time before each show, Brian and I would sit here and talk about him. We're like, oh, yeah, have you heard about Lee? Have you heard from Lee? What's going on? What's his new update? Because he was updating everybody about what was going on, not publicly, just via email. And then sometime around late May or so, things kind of took a turn. Or early May, he had some stuff in his liver, some fatty deposits or whatever. And the last I heard on May 4th was that the drugs they weren't working like gangbusters, but things were improving.
Yeah.
And he went on for a walk. Yeah. And then, I hadn't heard for like a month. Yeah. And then his brother posted on Facebook that, he let the cat out of the bag, essentially. I was like, hey.
Do we know
it's not going well.
How we got this?
It's like a rare form of lung cancer. Well, he wasn't a smoker.
He wasn't a smoker.
No.
And he wasn't playing with asbestos.
No. I mean, he may have been playing with asbestos. I have no idea, but
yeah.
I don't know. I think it was just one of those fluky, random things that just kind of spread. But he had the cough for a while, man. And I remember, in the winter, because not this past, but the time before, he got real phlegmy and was coughing and all this kind of shit on the air, and we gave him a bunch of crap for it. And then it came back, and he's like, "Look, I don't want to go do another bad show. I want to sit out and hope this thing gets better." So he actually missed a couple of shows before he actually went to the doctor.
He was thinking about the listeners more than himself almost. And
I'm like, dude, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Take care of yourself.
When you've never been a smoker, you're not thinking lung cancer.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And at 53?
Yeah. I hope they mention services or something. I'd really like to go.
Yeah.
I didn't make it to the hospital, but that's family time. I don't want to see, I don't want to see that.
Well, the family kind of likes people rolling in and just.
And they did, and they were totally like, hey, anybody come on by, but I don't know. I mean, first of all, it was all the way out in UCSF, but I don't know. So I started, oddly enough, I started talking to Sully about it because he knew Sully as well, and we were trying to get out there that Friday, but neither of us made it.
And that was the day he passed away.
That was the day he passed away. Yeah. So
I
don't know, man. It's just it's It's real sad. If you're a current listener to the show and you haven't gone back and listened, I highly suggest it. Lee was a really great beer judge, and he was sarcastic and dry and clever, and he just fit right in. And from day one, I knew that he was going to work out. And it's just really disappointing and sad that he's gone, and the show's not going to be the same. And I don't want it to be the same. That was. I mean. I would rename the show if I could. I mean, I probably could, but I don't think it would really clear up anything. But that's how strongly I feel. No offense to Doc, but that's how strongly I feel that Lee was that big a part of the show. He was that much a part of the show. Whereas without him, it doesn't feel like Dr. Homebrew anymore. It feels I don't know what it feels like. It feels like a different show.
The extras.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So, I don't know.
I finally went back today and I listened to most of the very first episode on the way here. And, you could already see the promise and the potential. And a lot of it was just because of how much fun it was for me to sit down and talk about beer with my friend Lee, who I became, closer. I've known him for 13 years. And we became... Over the last few years of doing the show, we did 61 episodes together with him, and he came to my house and would judge beers and prejudge the beers in advance of the show, and just the interplay of the discussion with him, where we're just talking about some of these beers with these crazy things in them, and he was always so kind, and even when he was ripping you a new one, he would do it in a way where you felt respected and you felt like, this guy really wants to help me improve my beer, and he is an expert. He knows what's going on in this beer to a high degree, something that I aspire to be as good of a judge as Lee is. And he was, brewing for 20-something years, I think, and judging for a long time. Someday I hope to get there. I've been doing it for a shorter time myself, but he was the expert on the show, honestly, and I miss him. But yeah, it was great to have him with us while he was here, and he helped a lot of people out in the judging community and doing classes in the brewing world and being very active in his homebrew club and events and just being a great all around guy. So
yeah, absolutely,
Lee, you're gonna be missed, buddy.
Yeah,
we're sorry,
sure.
So sorry to his family, and thanks for sharing him with us while he could be shared.
Yeah, he was very analytical, and like you said, when he's giving you something to think about, something to chew on about your beer, it was never personal, and it never came across that way. It's just very analytical. This is what I taste in the beer, and this is why you did it, and what you did to make this happen was stupid. But he wouldn't say that. But you get the point. But it was still a little like. This is what it is.
You might want to not try to do this next time.
It's the chemist, that scientist, that just that analytical, this is what it is. And I think that's what helped people make better beer, because he wasn't necessarily worried about if his point wasn't going to come across or if you weren't going to like him afterwards or whatever, but not in a pompous way. If this makes sense, I don't know. But it's just this is what it is. You can't, there's no emotion in it.
Just realistic encouragement. Here you can make this better.
Yeah, and he genuinely wanted people to make it better. I mean, that's why he spent so much of his free time and unpaid time teaching classes, getting better, tasting everything he could, and talking about it. And that's how you get better. You guys
traveling and tasting world beer styles everywhere.
Yeah.
Belgium. Yeah. You taught me a lot about Belgians. I
mean, you want to get better at tasting. You take classes. You sit down with people who taste better than you or worse than you. It doesn't matter.
No, better.
Just with people
better than you, and they go, "Oh, this is this."
Yeah.
Is once somebody says this is this, and this is why
you start to get it.
Then now you get it.
Yeah, but you got to talk about it. You sit down. You got to make an effort. These people. Lee was not a great taster and a beer judge by birth. He worked at it.
Yeah.
And he helped a lot of people. The Bay Area beer scene will not be the same because he really was kind of one of those linchpins of the judge community.
Yeah, I don't know what NCHF is going to be like. What a lot of these things, and just to the.
I mean, he helped us out at Winter Brews Fest all the time. He was our volunteer coordinator for a couple of years.
The one thing I really remember about him, I was president of Doe's for 8 years.
Yeah.
And around here, we got some killer brew clubs. We've got, the Bay Area mashers. We've got Mad Zymergist. We've got Does, and you tend to be your own island. And
within your club.
Well, yeah, because those are those guys. There's almost a hatred between clubs because we just didn't know each other. He's one of the first people that says, let's all get together, and started organizing us to all get together as clubs.
Sounds about right.
And picnics, and just beer tastings and things, where he kind of broke down the barrier. Which was insane for back then.
Right.
Because each club was its own island around here. And we had some gnarly clubs around here.
Yeah.
And he was kind of one of the first ones to break down those barriers and just say, hey, let's just all hang out. And it really worked. We're still doing it today.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Listeners out there, here's another JP's Life is an Open Book chapter of the Brewing Network, which I'm sure everyone's really thrilled about. One of my biggest fears about dying, which I have a lot of anxiety about, that is not, leaving anything behind. You know what I mean? Like letting nobody knows that I was here. And I think everybody has it. I think it's a very human thing to think about. It really is. I don't want to get into it for me, but if you want to celebrate somebody's life and you want to carry on Lee's memory, or if you want to make become a better beer judge, just follow Lee's examples. Listen to the shows. Listen to how the guy tastes. Listen to how he describes the beers. Become a judge. Get involved in your judge community. That's the best way that you can do it. If you've been listening to the show for the last 2 years or 3 years or however long we've been doing it, feels like a millennia, and you were a fan of the show and a fan of Lee, I think it would mean a lot to him and to us if you just became active in your judging community, and that's what we need. We need a lot more people like that to help homebrewers become better. It's already happened, and we've expressed it on the show before, where I've been at exams, beer judging exams, where people have come up to me and said, I listen to your show all the time, and there's something that clicks in the mind of a person who is a potential judge. When you listen to the way that a beer judge talks and thinks about beer, you can recognize that in yourself. Not everybody's born with it, and it's something you can develop if you're interested in it and it really resonates with you, and you listen to the things, go back and listen to some of the shows that we recorded with Lee. If you get anything from me, great. But I would I would try to encourage you to go out and get involved with your local homebrew club that would be putting, and lead up a class or lead up a BJCP class. Yeah. You can do it. That's how I did it. I became a judge by, let's start a class. And we got a dozen people interested, and boom, we had a bunch of judges in the club, and it really changed our club, and it grew. And you can do that too. And you don't have to. You can just keep enjoying beer, and whatever you get out of this is great. But, But be a positive force. Be a force at all. Negative, whatever. I don't care. No, I mean that's what we need. That's what the community needs. And, there was a lot of positivity in Lee, for sure. The guy was helpful. So anyway, let's just whatever's in your glass. You got a little, and oddly enough, wherever you are, just hit pause and raise the toast. When you come back, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Cheers. Right. Cheers. Cheers to Lee. I know one of Lee's favorite beer was North Coast. What's their Russian Imperial Stout? Yeah, Old Rasputin. So it's only fitting. And we toasted with him with Giant Stout on Monday on the session. So he did love the Giant Stouts. Tilly, you'll be missed, buddy, for sure. All right. On that note, we need to make a beer for Lee or something, or like. Well, we need to do something. Cool. I have a couple ideas. I do want to do something for sure. Yeah. I think that'd be cool. Anyway, everybody, just to let you know, there's a few more shows other than this one that's out there, the session and blah, blah, blah. What?
There's a couple out there?
There's a couple out there. I don't know, 4 or 5. And then if you're listening live, we're going to be back here in about 2 minutes or so with another Dr. Homebrew. And then if you're listening in podcast land, just wait till this song ends, and then the next one will autoplay, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, thanks for sticking with us, everybody, and thanks to Seth and Phillip for their beers. They were pretty good, for sure. We didn't hate them, that's for sure.
Oh, we did not hate them.
Yeah. And
JP's a hater.
I'm a hater. All right, everybody, be good to each other.
Yes.
And, we'll see you next time, man. Cheers.
Adios.